From Trademark Esports, Keeper Wild Soul from TFR. So very jungle heavy banning this time.
Yeah.
Coming out with the blind bans. Tempest going to be snapped locked though. I might that's there for TDM. So I'm sure he's liking that Tempest option now, especially with those blind bans.
Yeah, I think so too. But again, I still think you can't count out the other two junglers that are not so common, being both Legionnaire and Warbeast, especially Legionnaire, man. I really feel like Legionnaire just doesn't get enough love.
Yeah.
So a lot of options still, obviously early on in the lockpick pool, but Tempest, no question, locked up there by Minuts. Poly Defiler, some interesting heroes coming out now from TFR, actually.
Whoa. Now, see, Polywog, it's like, honestly, that's a case of, I wonder why we haven't seen him a lot lately. I mean, he's definitely had his part on the competitive scene, of course, throughout time and time, so. But the Defiler is a one of, okay, that's a little different, that's a little strange, and you know, I actually did hear rumors about this. Now the more I'm thinking about it, how the Fire Rises TFR, they were planning on running some, safe to say, some different strategies, and we kind of saw that in game number 2 with the Armadon pick. The game number 1, it seemed like the picks were pretty solid, nothing really too crazy, I guess. But here we are with Defiler being locked up. You got Riftwalker, the final lock. So one of those 3 heroes is going to be picked up. Again, Polywog to me isn't a standout as a crazy lock necessarily, but Defiler and Riftwalker are definitely out there.
Yeah, people never play Polywog anymore, honestly, because of the change to his Jolt. It doesn't really go as far. It feels different. It just feels awkward and kind of weird. And it's not the biggest deal, and players honestly can get over it because, you know, Polywog with his wards are still so annoying and so strong and pushing.
Yeah.
Defiler, it's a hero we hardly ever see, as you mentioned, and I'll say, though, if you can find him some kind of lane, particularly in a solo lane, I mean, is the best way to do it, because that hero does need levels. You do need levels up on a Defiler. But if you can find it and he gets some core items early on, man, he is such a force to be reckoned with. And you really have to be a disciplined team, though, to run Defiler. Like, you got to get farm up, you got to get core items, namely like Astrolabe, and maybe like Plated Greaves, or just something small like that, but there are very good teamfight items early on that you can get quickly. And just start pushing as a team. Don't let up, don't separate, don't try to farm. Get those core items and push with Defiler because he has a lot of push potential.
Now, you see some right clicks coming out here. This is the first pick, of course, coming up. Thinking about whether it's going to be Zephyr or Draconis. It is going to be Zephyr, and I kind of wonder if that maybe screws up TFR. Look at that all right-clicking Behemoth, by the way. As you were just saying there, I mean, you think push when you think heroes like Polywog, like Defiler especially. So, again, those are in the lock pool. It doesn't mean they're absolutely going to be picked up by any means, but,
right,
you know, kind of just putting scenarios out there. So, but Zephyr first picked here by Trademark Esports. So, now TFR, we'll see how they kind of respond themselves. And Zephyr, you know, considered more of a group of and pushing hero himself, for that matter. So, decision time now for TFR. We're definitely going to get an idea, though, of what direction they may go in here with these couple of picks. So,
yeah, I'm not quite sure. I wouldn't be surprised from TDM if, well, honestly, there's a ton of great supports out there. In fact, all of them are really there. Nymphora, Illuna, Glacius, Engineer. They're all available. And you got to be looking at that, especially the Engineer if you're TFR.
Yeah. Well, Insania is putting a good amount of time here into making the thought of it. Pharaoh Magnus, though, is actually going to be the first 2 picks coming out. Yeah, a little interesting there.
I thought for sure Engineer would get picked up here. I'm not sure about that. But TDM, they could run Engineer as well. Doesn't exactly synergize like amazingly with Zephyr, because they're both like, you know, skill shots as far as the gust and the stun. Not like a huge skill shot like an arrow, like an arrow or a hook or anything. But yeah. Still, it's not guaranteed. It's nice to have a setup stun for either one of those heroes. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm still very curious to see the Magnus in particular instead of something like a very, very strong support like, well, Engineer. Yeah.
Now back over to my notes here for TDM and gonna think about this. So. Torturer and Empath. Wow. So with all those support options, literally every support option on the board, they go with Empath, actually. Again, Empath is a very powerful support here in our own right, but with all those options, I am a little bit taken back by that. But and on top of that, I mean, now, when you think Empath, you maybe think like your right clicks, like Draconis, Moonkman, or whatever, Silhouette. But she does synergize fairly well with a Zephyr. I mean, the fact that Zephyr, with the speed burst specifically, how that can help him, you know, chase people down. So, Engineer is going to be the final pick, actually, in the end by TFR. This really is shaping up to be interesting here. This lock pool, I don't know what's going to happen, man.
Well, thinking about Tempest, TFR is going to have some kind of funky dual lanes, like with a Rift support or a Polywog support, honestly. They really are. Or they could tri-lane. And they could also tri-lane with like a support Poly and then go 2 solos like Defiler and Pharaoh. That might work as well. But either way, it's going to be, it's going to be a little bit crazy.
Something crazy is going to happen here. What is it going to be? I mean, you're just feeling it. It's like you don't think this is going to be like a bubbles hack. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what Insania eventually goes with though. With their final 2 picks. But yeah, you're saying like how the lane's going to set up. It's going to be unique. Riftwalker, I mean, we can't forget about Riftwalker too. I personally don't know too much about her. I mean, obviously we really haven't seen her.
Rift is actually pretty good against Tempest.
Yeah?
The ultimate is superior magic. It will completely counter Tempest no matter what. And it's got 1200 range to it and a huge AoE. And they go for it.
Wow. Defiler Riftwalker, the final 2 pickups here. So, so as I say that, and sure enough it's picked up, I am just quickly, I have played her a couple times before in Mid-Wars, so I somewhat, have an idea of the abilities. But again, I don't know if we've ever seen her. I don't think we have. I don't think we've seen her here in HoN Tour yet, so, on HoNcast. So, that's different, but you were mentioning the wormhole, as you see right there, the superior magic, the radius that it has, pretty damn good. Bubbles is going to be the final pick from tdM, but you know what? I think it's safe to say everyone's intrigued by TFR's lineup.
Yeah.
Well, what is the fire return going to do here? I mean, Insania looks like he's going to be playing the Riftwalker, by the way. Are we going to see Riftwalker support? I mean, what is going to happen here?
I think it's going to be supporting the Defiler. I'm guessing something like Defiler Rift top. And then, well, you know what? They could go mid, dual range mid. Well, I don't know. They're probably suspecting, honestly, like, Torture to be solo mid. If that's the case, throw that Mag Engie mid and just destroy Torture. Top lane, probably Suicide Bubbles. Throw Defiler plus, and yeah, Defiler actually does have the side lane items. Bought so much items he forgot to buy regen. He's going to have to sell something. But, yeah, probably going to be pitted up against that Defiler and Riftwalker. And then Suicide Pharaoh in the bottom lane. As Skies was already rushing down there to try to place that ward up.
He bought the boots initially, I believe, and yeah, definitely running down there, and it's going to be close, and he probably will get there. I don't know if tdM is necessarily going the direct path of blocking the camp. You do see them kind of running up the middle lane, though. It's almost as if they're checking out Conquer themselves. Obviously, we saw the last game where TFR checked out Conquer, and tdM going to do the same. Again, whenever you have a Pharaoh especially, it kind of throws up that red flag. Let's just go ahead and check it out, just in case. Sure enough, not doing it, though, so they'll fall back. But the ward of sight was easily placed down by Skyzo there. So, yeah, man, I'm very intrigued, though. Again, Insania here on this Riftwalker. That's the one for me. But also Defiler. So I actually want to go back into that discussion. You're talking about possible builds, maybe something like an Astrolabe or Plated Greaves early on and then just grouping up and push. Now, Defiler standing out to me is when, way back in the day, a lot of people are going to like this, Chu playing Defiler. He had his moments on this hero where he actually went a Storm Spirit build.
Yeah.
And, you Storm Spirit yourself while your ghosts are still doing plenty of damage. It seemed to be pretty effective. Is that a possibility you still think? Oh,
it's a very, very good tool on Defiler. We see some switching up right away. It was Bubbles going to be top. Then he walked towards bottom. Then it was going to be like a Suicide Torture at first. And the Courier actually doing some Courier pulling. I thought they stopped this.
Yeah. I didn't even know that was possible.
Well, I mean, this used to be standard. Like, people would do this all the time.
Yeah.
And I just thought it wasn't able to do it anymore. Anyway.
Apparently it is.
Yeah.
TFR proves that's working. So the lane, so what are we going to see? So, yeah, Bubbles is going back top, actually, in the end. So that means the Torture bottom. You got Tempest in his own jungle. The middle lane, Zephyr Empath against a Magnus Engineer. This is a classic, yet powerful dual lane, of course. Magnus Engineer I'm talking about, so...
Yeah.
What do you see happening here in the middle lane?
Well, okay, the mid lane, I favor. I think that Magnus Engineer is such a great combination. You catch Empath off guard, or even to get some chip damage up onto Zephyr before he gets those tanky items is probably the best way to go. But it is for some reason I was thinking that Demented Shaman was Empath because we so commonly see Demented Shaman with Zephyr.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, melee hero is not that great against this lane, but I still think that Magnus Engineer is a superior lane. Bottom lane, I saw a lot of missed creep kills actually coming out from Noobg, as you got to actually credit, to be honest, the Courier taking those creeps away because the towers or the creeps all went into the tower, and Noobg had a very difficult time trying to get those last hits.
Yeah, causing some issues there. So, also been watching the top end a little bit, the harassment that Insania has been putting out here on this Rift Walker, and he actually does end up leveling out, going the QW. Actually, pretty intrigued to see, you know, how ultimately the build works out here. That W though, what is it called? The shared existence. So that's an interesting style of ability. So it puts the dot on them, and then the more damage they take, the more slow that will be applied. So seems like that could be a pretty damn effective laning harassment tool actually here for Rift Walkers. So. And she also can awards just before the 2-minute mark, by the way. So there's the 2-minute spawn coming out here on the pole camp, and we'll probably stack it here and then eventually pull it. So well played by Insania once again.
That's really important because this lane simply cannot kill bubbles. If this was Mag NG up top here, they could. And in fact, it might have even been better in hindsight. But of course, they didn't know the lanes for sure what tdM was going to do. In fact, I thought also Torture was going to be mid for them. But I think it would have been better if you know the lane to have defied the dual range lane up against the Zephyr.
Yeah.
And having the extra range to just keep Zephyr down and harassed. But if you're not able to kill bubbles, which they're not in this lane because they don't really have a hard stun on their team or in this composition, then the pulling is going to be very, very important here for Insania. He's actually doing the pull from the hard camp, so wants to pull it right away. He's not going to stack it just now. And as long as you can get that done, that's fine.
Yeah.
But sometimes there is a risk where it just becomes a little bit too difficult to do. But he got it done, so.
Whew. Nice take cover right there by Zai, expecting that Cascade event, as it's called. Cascade event. Or the one where it puts the hole in the ground and it pulls you in after a certain amount of time. But uses the take cover, avoids it, so just some auto attack harassment going back and forth. But yeah, again, just a good job right there. I saw an example of what you're talking about with the pulling to pull. And actually, the Skeleton King will still have the next cam. Middle lane, a little bit of initiation on the Zephyr, but he'll easily tank it. He has the bottom now, of course, especially, so he'll be fine. Bubbles at the top lane. You see there, trying to go for the actually getting caught right here by the Skeleton King. And uh-oh, Zai's in trouble. He will fall, but the neutral creep gets the kill, so no Bloodlust kill coming out just yet. Oh, man. That was unfortunate for both sides in a sense. But, yeah, in the end, so I guess not the biggest deal, but still fun stuff happening there.
Yeah, I actually am kind of curious why LSQ didn't level up one level of silence. Especially against the bubbles, where it's 3 seconds of silence. You put that in the middle of a shell surf, he can't pour to it. So, yeah, I feel like it would have been a very, very effective skill here against bubbles, but
that's actually a really good. I wanted to bring that up too when we were talking about Defiler. That silence, I think, again,
it's amazing.
It's amazing, exactly. I think it's very underrated. Again, for how we never see this hero, but even on like the pub scene or whatever, it is an amazing ability. As you said, 3 seconds at level 1, 6 seconds at level 4, and the radius is huge.
It's massive.
A 900 radius. It's pretty damn big, and that can be very effective. Now Zephyr in the middle lane is going to be comboed right here. The wall coming out from Empath though, as well as the Essence Drain, and actually Magnus needs to be careful. He's going to be gusted back in. Zephyr still dropping somewhat, and Magnus will fall though. Bloodlust kill coming out in favor of Fitzgay actually playing that Empath. So tdM had the better of that exchange right there.
Yeah, well, they just tried to go into the Zephyr and didn't get enough damage up onto him to start. And Limp actually went for a Vestments early on here in this lane. Doesn't even have 600 HP, but has the Vestment, so it's still mitigating a lot of damage coming out from Magnus Engineer.
Yeah.
And that's a huge pickup hit for him, honestly, before he gets to the helm of the Black Legion, and I agree with that.
You see again Rift Walker and Bubbles going at it. You see him putting down that third ability, the Rift Burn. I'm still trying to learn the names here on the fly from Rift Walker. But just going to harass him again out of the lane. And oh, bottom lane, Noob G going down to Pharaoh actually.
Whoa,
Pharaoh being
what?
played by Skyzo here. And he's full life too. I apologize for missing that action, but you didn't catch it, did you?
No.
Yeah, they just died. I mean, I don't know if he just
did not expect that.
Yeah, if he got caught low or something somehow, but Wrath of the Pharaoh was used, of course, but yeah, big kill for Pharaoh there.
Well, he leveled up the Hellfire, and that's a very, very good tool against a hero that's like Torture. That's not very tanky, and he had the level advantage early on because of well, he's a melee hero, so if denies come out, he's gonna get more experience. And good exchange there for Skyzo. So gets a kill on Noob G. That's going to be huge for his team, actually.
Now, interesting thing to note here as well, again, it's very minimal, but still somewhat significant, I think, is that the fact that we have a jungle versus a no jungle, yet the Hellborn team actually has the very slight experience advantage. So even despite them having that Tempest there in the jungle, it seems like the experience has been spreading out pretty nicely here for TFR so far. Again, it's very minimal, but still.
Well, the reason for that is Bubbles is getting close to nothing.
Okay.
Whereas your kind of quote-unquote suicide, yes, it's against one hero, is not only doing well, but got to kill himself.
Oh, nice kick stun right there. Pushes him in tower range, and actually Limp is in a lot of trouble. Can use the Cyclones. Engineer will fall. Can they at least get a turnaround kill? No, they cannot. Magma's going to start falling back as he realizing quickly he ain't going to finish it. A gust attempt maybe going to come out from Zephyr, but it won't hit. So, ooh, that was so close. It was a great kick stun actually by Kabop initially. It put him in the tower range, but in the end he falls in. They cannot get the counter kill. Now they are going to try to push the top tower. Defiler did use his ultimate already. And actually, is it up? Okay, wow, I just couldn't see it on my screen there. So it is up, this tower, and this is what Defiler does with the Exorcism. It is going to be killed. Zai thinking about maybe denying it, but
interesting port there by Zai.
What did
he's going to get spotted out.
Yeah, you're right, actually. And actually, the ghosts are going to start doing plenty of damage here, and whoa, he will die.
Zai?
Yeah, not sure what that was about.
That was a very questionable shell surf direction.
I thought he was going to TP, yeah.
Well, he went to the left. Like, he went in the tree. I don't know. That was very, very strange.
Huh. Well, not only a tower kill, but a hero kill.
Yeah.
And less QQ. All of a sudden, his farm, 362 gold per minute. But again, this is what Defiler can do. That unholy expulsion, as it's called. Yeah, it's powerful. It'll destroy towers even at level 1. And the fact that it just burst heals you as well when it runs off is actually pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
So, big start.
Yeah, as long as he starts building tankies, it's really what I like to see for Defiler players to do. Like, I love seeing the Astrolabe and then just group up as a team. Group as a team. What do you want to do when Defiler has an ultimate? You just don't want to fight him in it because it does so much physical damage.
Yeah.
And especially once it gets to level 2. Like, level 1 is honestly not that good, but once you start getting the levels up onto it, it becomes very, very deadly. So, but regardless, if you get very, very tanky on Defiler, they try to kill you. They don't. It's going to backfire immensely for them because, as you mentioned, the ghosts do heal you. So
yeah, well, on top of that, too, you actually brought up a great point about the ultimate, how it's physical damage. I like to stress that because, you know, when I think of Defiler and you see the ghost flying around, I mean, in my mind, it's like, oh, that's magical damage. But, you know, you have your sharkened heads up or whatever, those ghosts are still going through, doing the physical damage and doing plenty of it. So definitely a big thing to keep in mind there. Also, the fact, what was I going to say? Still doesn't have the silence, by the way. A little interesting there. Still not at least 1 level, but what was I going to say?
Yeah, if he didn't get the silence at level 4, he's probably not going to get it till level 8.
Okay.
Just simply how it works out because you want to max your Wave of Death.
Yeah.
So hopefully he'll get it next level.
I forgot.
Pharaoh's going to run into Tempest right here.
Oh, yeah, actually, the Hellfire, as you mentioned, it is level 4 right here. Wrath of the Pharaoh going to be his Tempest in a lot of trouble, and he will fall. So Skyzo doing some work down here, getting a couple of kills, Engineer in some trouble himself. Typhoon going to be used by Zephyr right there. Double damage on Magnus. He stuns it. Here comes Rift Rocker with support. The Cascade event on top of Z right there. Zephyr dropping, using the Cyclones. Pharaoh trying to assist for the kill, and Pharaoh will get the kill right there. Onto Limp, playing that Zephyr, and now actually Fitsuke also going to get caught on an Empath, and he too will go down. Defiler came in at the last second. He actually got credit for that last kill. So that works out beautifully for the Fire Rises. And now they're going to push this middle lane, it looks like.
Yeah, and I don't know much about Riftwalker, but I do know that this Rift Burn spell just does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
And it actually did a lot of work right there. And Satan actually has a lot of farm, too, as Defiler uses this ultimate in the Tier 1 tower in mid now. And it will drop. It will drop very, very quickly. We do have Tempest maybe looking to do some kind of defense, but wow, Minus is only level 6. Very uncharacteristic for him. Usually he's like top in the game at about this time. He's only level 6, 2 levels lower, actually 3 levels lower than Pharaoh, who's the top in the game. So
yeah.
Not the start that Minots wants.
Yeah, again, look. Speaking of Pharaoh, Skyzo's big plays. Not only got that kill to Torture at the bottom lane, which are still both completely baffled by that, but also the fact that he's been roaming around. He's now 3-0-1 overall, 350 gold per minute here on Pharaoh. Now, let's be honest. I mean, Pharaoh isn't the most deadly or dangerous of heroes to get a great farm on early on, but still, nonetheless, it's great farm, and it will result in early items. So.
I think he actually is pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
I think if you get some farm onto him, like if you get good farm onto him, and then you hook into someone, and especially the levels too, it's like a kill. It's a free kill on anyone from 2,000 range away. So yeah, he's actually going to pop that invis. He runs into Tempest, but he doesn't have really all his spells up. Not to mention he doesn't have the full mana to do anything. But looking to roam mid onto maybe Empath or perhaps even on Zephyr.
There is a rev here, though, so he does need to be careful. It's about to wear out in 10 seconds, but he's got to be just out of radius of that. In fact, using our K button right here, it's 800. So yeah, he's a good distance from it. He does have a Wrath of the Pharaoh ready to go. In fact, he may use it right here. The initiation onto Defiler. Defiler dropping quickly. Wrath of the Pharaoh comes in, but it's just a little bit too late. Les QQ just not tanking out, but a great mummy while setting out the Magma stun. Down goes Bubbles right there. Zephyr may fall as well. Oh, the kickstun will hit. What a kickstun from Kebab right there. Magnus now dropping the casket event. Oh, he jumped it with the ultimate right there. Tempest was channeling his, but a great cancel by Riftwalker. However, Riftwalker may be in trouble herself. It looks like she will fall in the end. So tdM does come out on top in numbers, 4-2 actually, right there with that exchange. It's Kebabable Heroes.
Yeah.
He stays alive, but ooh, what a fight.
It was. They just simply had all of their members there faster than TFR did. They were just all there quickly, ready to go, torture with the damage quickly. Bubble. And also Pharaoh, I feel like you mentioned, I feel like he ulted just a little bit too late.
Yeah.
He watched Defiler die and then ulted in. And I think it could have been just a little bit faster with that.
Defiler doesn't have a Mystic Vestments. I did question that a little bit.
Yeah.
Especially against Zephyr right there. I mean, the Typhoon just tore him apart without Mystic Vestments.
I agree.
You might want to invest that 400 gold at least into that. It does have a level 1 silence, though, now with that said.
I feel like really Astrolabe is just like the core item of Defiler. It's like his core is like a blink on mag. I really feel that. It promotes pushing, it promotes being next to your team, which is, I feel like, the best way. I mean, that's what they're doing anyway, right? Like, they're all grouping up pretty much, as they should be, and that's smart. That's a smart move. Also, with the Tempest ult being down, it helps a lot. But, yeah, no Astrolabe up onto Lesky. But you mentioned the more important thing, he's got to get that magic resistance up.
Yeah. So a good tower push coming out right there from the Hellborn side, but obviously going to vote to pause. Apparently, having just a quick issue here, but... Yeah, so hope for his sake, definitely at least invest in that shortly. But here we are coming up to 13 minutes in now. Let's take a quick look at more items that have been picked up on either side. You got your Steam Boots, Ring of Sorcery, and Bottle here on Tempest. You see the timeout on the skies, though, so reason for the pause. Torturer has a Neophyte's Book picked up with his build-up items. Zephyr, nothing too flashy himself. He is farming about 300 gold per minute right now. He has enough gold to finish his Helm of the Black Legion. Bubbles, of course, Zai struggled early on, continuing to do so. And then you got Empath, actually has a major totem and boots here amongst his build-up. So on the other side, nothing too crazy. You know, we talked about it really. You got Defiler, of course, she has that Beast Heart. So perhaps trying to work on that Helm of the Black Legion herself. You did mention the Astrolabe would be ideal, but not for the... Yeah, Magnus does have just over 1,000 gold saved up. So Portal Kia obviously in mind, I'm sure. And wanting to get that as soon as possible. We did get to see the wormhole, though, from Riftwalker used last fight.
Yeah.
Granted, it might have been a little late, just like the Wrath of the Pharaoh for that matter, but got to see it cancel the Tempest Ultimate and the power of it, so keep that in mind.
What's cool is the range of your Cascade event and your ultimate is the same, so you can pull everybody into one like little clumped up area and then ult, so it hits everybody. Yeah. Not to mention it synergizes well with other spells too. Perhaps the Engineer Ultimate, the Magnus Ultimate, things like that. So it's kind of iffy. It's not guaranteed, and it does have the cast time is delayed.
Slingered, yeah.
But it's very effective. And like I said at the beginning, Riftwalker is especially strong against the Tempest Ultimate. You can buy Shrunken Head, but it can be canceled from 1,200 yards away by Riftwalker's Ultimate, which is, I think, a much lower cooldown. Now. It's only 70 seconds at level 3.
Wow, yeah.
And another thing about that, it's basically like a free blink for Riftwalker too.
Yeah.
Like I've seen actually people use that to get away. I'm not even kidding.
Oh no, of course, yeah. It's a tool like that. Hell, it's a longer cooldown, but if it saves your life in the end, by all means worth it. So, Pharaoh is reconnecting here, so that's good news for TFR. With Skyzo, I think he did have some computer issues earlier as well. So, just a quick hiccup, but resuming into game number 3 here as soon as he reconnects, I'm sure. But again, Pharaoh, you talked about how. Even a farm on a hero like Pharaoh could actually be pretty significant. You know, the fact that he could just jump in. He is getting close to level 11 with that said. Not only that means more damage on the Wrath of the Pharaoh, but the big thing I think is a reduction in cooldown. 80 to 60 seconds, then eventually 40 seconds at level 3. So he will be able to just be flying around the map left and right here for our Hellborn side. So he has reconnected. We'll see what TFR does from here. Probably just going to fall back, I would assume. They got the tower kill. Not worth pushing it too much.
I agree with you, though. Like, I think every member of this Hellborn team needs vestments.
Yeah.
Like, there's really, now that I think about it, no hard carry for tdM. The closest thing to that is, I mean, Zephyr really, in my mind, is not a carry at all. I think he's a pusher, and that's about it. And a big tanky mess. But Torturer can actually be strong in late game, but that's all you got. Defiler, I think, is going to have a number on you for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the supporting cast is a little bit better. In general, like you just have a lot more utility, I think, in general on this TFR team. Magnus, Rift, I mean, especially Engineer. So Yeah, I don't know. But I feel like they're going to make a move soon. You finally have the Helm of the Black Legion finished up on the Zephyr. It's good for Limp. Still under that 300 gold per minute mark, though.
Yeah, we also saw a little bit of Riftwalker there. Actually has the Mystic Vestments and the Steam Boots herself.
Yeah.
But she can farm fairly well with the synergy of her ability. So even though she's kind of this Gimp support, her GPM is close to 200 gold per minute, and it makes sense. You know, the Rift Burn, as you're talking about in fights, it does plenty of damage. Obviously, to creeps, it does plenty, and then that synergizing with the Cascade, you can definitely clean out creep waves pretty effectively, and even some jungle stacks. So. That's another reason why Riftwalker could be valuable, of course. This is the first time, I believe, we've seen her on HoNcast. And makes some big plays indeed. Torturer at the bottom lane needs to be careful. The Unholy Expulsion is going to be used by Defiler, and that most likely means a tower kill. It is only level 1. As you said, it's not the most effective, but it still is going to set up this tower kill and pending some reaction shortly by Trademark, which is possible. They want to pour it in vulnerability, but no, they're not. And Les QQ actually getting rid of the tower kill. So he actually jumps back on to being tops in the game and farm, 350. But this has definitely been a back-and-forth game when it comes to that. I mean, both sides have had their leads here. And
yeah.
So you can't get ahead of yourself. I mean, this really is just an even game right now.
Yeah, I still really feel that Astrolabe is so necessary on a team like this. And the biggest reason is like, okay, he has the Helm of the Black Legion. He's going to be tanky. That's good for him. But what about the rest of his team? And Helm of the Black Legion now onto Pharaoh. That's good. But when I see that, if I'm TDM and I see them, like, okay, I'm just not going to go on you. I'm going to go kill Rift, or I'm going to kill Magnus, or Engineer, or what have you. Well, if you get the Astrolabe, it's not going to help only you, but everyone on your team while you're pushing. And I don't know. I just feel like it's a very core item, especially early on. It starts to fade off as time goes by, which is why I feel like it needs to be purchased sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
And the vestments, of course, too, for both Pharaoh, specifically Pharaoh and Defiler.
Ooh, Defiler. Yeah, that was a little bit scary for him, but she does get out and just fine. Yeah, that's the big thing for me in the end. I mean, the Mystic Vestments, it should seem like it's pretty obvious here against this Legion team. So you really do hope for his sake that is eventually going to be purchased. Still not yet, but we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. You did talk about the Helm of the Black Legion, though, also on Pharaoh. He's not level 11 just yet. He continues to be fairly close. Actually, Invis Magnus over here. Will they initiate? Yes, they will. Magnus does in. Where's the Wrath of the Pharaoh? Still waiting for it. And it's not going to come, though. The Eruption gets canceled. And now the Tempest ultimate going to be used. Shams is in trouble. He will end up falling. I have no clue. Did he actually use it and get caught? No. I mean,
I don't know. Pharaoh was pretty far away.
Yeah, maybe that was
an awkward
it, yeah.
position. I think that was a fault by Shams. I think it was way too far up, and that's pretty. That was just a pretty silly play, honestly. I don't know. I wasn't really watching it, but it did feel like. I mean, it's only level 1 hook. I feel like he might have been just too far away.
Yeah, it's very possible. So yeah, definitely just miscommunication, no matter who said it was on there from the Hellborn team. And now they're going to push this middle lane. But another thing to note there about that kill was that Magnus is going to. The Wrath of the Pharaoh going to miss, and that might have been for the better. That might have been one of those blessing in disguises, because I don't know if that would have accomplished a whole lot, if not dying himself. And they actually denied the tower in the end. So, but I was going to say, the portal key is now delayed on Magnus. He actually had like 1,600 gold when he got killed right there. So.
Yep.
It got delayed, and now back to farm he goes.
His levels are pretty low. Like, they need to be right around where Zephyr is, or if not even better, because Zephyr is just such a huge tanky force to deal with. Top lane, we might have a push coming out from... No, it's not even push, actually. Defiler just wants to come over here and farm this. And that's going to force Bubbles to get back, but he's fine. Pushbook up onto Torture. That's fantastic for him, specifically against the Pharaoh. But we see a huge... Actually, in this last 2 minutes of huge experience gain coming out for TDM. They've done Ancients, or stacked Ancients, a number of times in just the last few minutes, it seems like. And as a result, 6,500 experience lead for them. Small gold lead, 1,600, but still very good.
Yeah, Magnus, again, though, he is trying his best to finish that, get that portal key. We'll need to be careful here, as there is some ganking coming in. And he will start to fall back. Of course, still just shy of it still. 1,600 gold saved up. These are 2,150, of course. Not just yet. Pharaoh's still not level 11. I remember seeing he was level 10. It seemed like 5-6 minutes ago. We did have a pause there, but it seemed like it's been... Okay, there we go. Right as I say that, though, he does finally hit level 11. So he has that level 2 ultimate. Speaking of that, Defiler's getting close herself. She is also now level 10. But yeah, overall, 6,100 experience lead, though, in favor of the Legion team here. You got your level 11s on Torture, Zephyr, and Tempest now. So big news there. Bottom tower is getting low here for the Hellpoint side, but no push coming just yet. So more farm. You did talk about the Tablet of Command here on Torture. big pickup for them, of course. Tempest not valuing the portal key this game, it looks like. He does have a Neophyte's book here with all those build-up items. Again, Midas definitely does this, especially with the bottle here on Tempest. I don't know, though. Will that turn into a tablet or even a Storm Spear or something like that?
Probably a tablet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is a pretty rough game also for Tempest. I mean, you have a lot of things working against you as far as canceling your ultimate. Even if you don't have the Shrunken Head, everything can cancel it pretty much. And even if you do, you can still have it canceled by the Riftwalker ulti or the Pharaoh Hook. So, very annoying.
Yeah, so just going to route up. I'm not even going to bother with it. And the haste, or Pharaoh does have a haste drum botted up, running into some illusions or elementals right there. But nothing really coming of that. HoN team has pretty good control of the Legion jungle right now. There's the portal key on Magnus, so they do have that. Now, 4 of them are down here, but Defiler is not with them. And Defiler seems like she is an important piece to this puzzle here on TFR side. So I don't know if I'd be looking to get involved in a team fight, let alone pushing, to be honest. But Pharaoh is going to lead the way so far. Here at the bottom lane, now they're not really all going for it by any means, but again, I just don't know about this, especially without Defiler.
Yeah.
Seems like it's pretty risky.
Yeah, I feel like TDM should put up a fight. Like, oh, here comes Defiler finally.
Okay.
But they're going to see him as he's going to walk into a ward. So, or maybe he might have just barely got by
close,
that.
yeah.
We'll see if TDM decides to put up a fight. They might just concede this, honestly. They have the Ancients to work with right now as Minus is farming that. Zephyr's coming in. Yeah, I think they're just going to concede this tower.
All right, so yeah, with Defiler being here, though, I do agree. Again, it makes sense. And you do have a strong teamfight team here on TFR, so they're going to push this tower, and as you put it, just concede it. Not really worth their time defending it. I mean, they still have a little bit of time here, granted, with Homecoming Stones, but no, it's not going to happen. Down it goes, and the HoN team will gladly take a little extra bit of gold there. Mystic Vestments are finally delivered to Defiler, so she does have those now, and another 1,300 gold saved up, by the way. So again, still waiting to see what she does go for next. I know you really keep stressing that Astrolabe, but something tells me.
Well, it's starting to get to that point where it's like, do you really want to invest in it now?
Yeah.
And I still think it's a very effective item pickup, but at this point, maybe not. And the problem when you get to this mid-game for Defiler is that you lose out on a lot of mana. And you do use a lot of your item slots, so one of the perfect items for him as we get to the mid to late game is that Frostwheel Plate. But before that, it's like, what kind of build-up item do you get until you get that mana up? So maybe a Grave Locket, but
look at the damage, though. That's a level 2 ultimate. That just tore the tower apart. I mean, that really was like all her. I mean, it's the top lane. Bubble's getting caught out here. The silence on top of that. Will it be long enough? 2 more seconds. Yes, it will. The ultimate actually assisting right there from Defiler and getting the kill. So Zai getting caught at the top lane as well. So a great tower pushing, honestly, from TFR. And on top of that, they do get a hero kill. Yeah,
they're getting their momentum back. And whenever I feel this momentum, that's when I want to start to get the team fight items, the items that are beneficial to my team, like Astrolabe. So still, it's not out of question. I know I'm pressing this issue a lot, but I really do feel like it's that important.
Yeah.
An item like that, or perhaps a barrier idol. Just lots and lots of team fight items for a team that's centered around a hero that needs to team fight, like Defiler. So
gold is being pulled up, though. I mean, you not only got Defiler 2,500, but look at Pharaoh 2,400. In fact, there you go.
That's a great item. Yeah.
And I was going to say, you know, I meant to bring that up earlier too. Going back to the whole ultimate being physical damage.
Exactly.
Soul's Bulwark synergizes very well with that when you do 1+1. So. Yeah, that's going to be a good pickup for them. In fact, just delivered right there. But still, I mean, Defiler, you made a note of the Frostfield Plate. I mean, I guess I could see that as even a first item here from Defiler. But yeah, she is pulling up gold. And then, of course, there's also actually, speaking of Defiler, she's in some trouble. Going to take the stun for the kill field. Oh, the chain reactions barely connects, though. And there comes all the damage output. No port, though, from Bubbles. And I wonder if he was silent. No, he wasn't silenced. He chose not to. And actually, Defiler survives. Maybe figuring the support was coming in, so didn't want to risk it. But, hey, Defiler's taking enough for that, apparently.
I mean, he was playing in no vision. But to be honest, I felt like ports needed to come out faster for Defiler. Like, she didn't die, but if she did get pursued, she very well would have. And Shams did port, but it was still very late. And I feel like they needed to support her just a little bit better. Yeah. But, yeah, I am very, very curious as to see what Defiler uses this gold to spend.
Well, I was also going to say, though, you're stressing this whole tanky or team fight, but what about something like a Sheepstick? What about your crowd control item?
Sheepstick is great. Sheepstick is fine, and you can never go wrong with a Sheepstick, honestly, but it's very expensive. And I feel like this is a hero that you need to have lots of build-up items, lots of just make me tanky and team fight and let me push fast with my team. kind of items. So yeah, Chief Stick is good, but I don't know. I just don't prefer it. I would rather just be tanky and help my team.
Yeah. Well,
because if you're buying a Sheep Stick, that means you're farming a lot, probably, and waiting towards the mid to late game, or at least the late game. And I feel like that you can't do that with the Fire. Like, you just need to keep grouping up as a team.
Again, another 3,000 gold saved up, so she really is pulling up some gold here early on, 23.5 minutes. But I want to go back to the point that, whoa, an Axe of the Malphite just purchased by Defiler. So going massive tank, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think it's fine actually.
You like that?
Yeah, it's the tanky route, but it's not an Astrolabe.
It ain't an Astrolabe.
Or a barrier. Like, a barrier would be so good for their team. Look at who they're playing up against. Torture or Zephyr in particular. And Bubbles.
See, by the way, Zephyr has a shrunken head, but again, that won't do anything against the ultimate from Defiler. So
it'll do a lot for everything else.
It will, though.
Like the Pharaoh, Magnus, Engineer being able to go through that ultimate. So that's a good pickup. I like that.
Yeah, so we're so focused on Defiler over here. But by the way, you got Zephyr, the shrunken head. You got Torture. I'm guessing a shrunken head. Excuse me, in the works himself. Another 2,000 gold saved up on Tempest, by the way. God, got the hiccups, man. As he is, there you go with the Shaman's Headdress, actually. So yeah, he is going that quote-unquote battle build, as you like to say. Probably turning that into a barrier idol here. It's a rough game for a Tempest, so doesn't want to go for the big ultimate plays. Playing the safer route, teamfight route. Okay, so you're investing all this gold here into eventually a Behemoth. I mean, even just the Axe of the Malphite alone. You look at the life pool. She does have 1,900 life. That's by far the most in the game, of course.
Yeah.
At this point, I was going to say that when do you decide to finally group up? Because again, look at your team. That's what it's all about. It seems like built around this Defiler, and that's that. Here it is, though. To answer my question now. 25 minutes in, you see Zephyr in the front. You see a wall coming out right there, but those are just illusions. So. Not a big deal. Ooh, Shams is in a pretty nifty spot. He is level 11, by the way, too. Oh, this could be setting up beautifully,
right
but
there.
will he be spotted? Here we go. Channel, maybe.
Perfect.
It's perfect. It seems like it's so good. Where's the initiation? There we go. Here comes the channel from Shams, and in we jump. The Lava Surge coming over there. Empath will fall. Tempest dropping quickly as well. The ultimate coming out from Defiler. Defiler dropping, though. The Typhoon from Zephyr on top of the Shrunken Head. Just too much damage output coming up for the Legion side. Riftwalker will be forced to fall back despite her wormhole in. She's going to try to go for the TP. Yes, she will be successful. Very close right there, and I believe the rest should get away. So the initiation looks pretty strong, but Zephyr especially just too strong, as well as Torture for that matter.
Yeah, they were. They dished out a lot of damage, and Noob G played that really well despite having the energy field down. Didn't walk out of it, was just being very patient. Oh, we might see a kill actually on the Bubbles. He does get the blink off. So yeah, Pharaoh's not able to get a kill right there, but I thought that was going to look pretty good for TFR, but tdM able to hold their ground.
Yeah, again,
Unless QQ fell. He still fell.
I was going to say, yeah, and I kind of wonder, again, so much going on, how effective his silence was, when and where he used it.
Right.
Because, again, it's at level 3, even at only level 3, it's still 5 seconds. That's a 5-second AoE silence. I mean, it's not like you're silencing a shot from Memorable Warden and one target. It's an AoE silence of 5 seconds, eventually 6 seconds, and it seems like that's pretty damn effective. Whoa, Wrath of the Pharaoh just out of range right there. But again, I kind of feel like maybe that was a blessing in disguise because the Ninja of the Room, by the way, coming out from Zai, picks up the haste right in front of Engineer, and he's going to use it to maybe get a turnaround kill now. Riftwalker in some trouble. Will she get the support in time? I don't believe so. Out comes a wall. Kelfid even going to be used. There's a teleport. A great Keksa coming out for Kebab. Still alive as Riftwalker. Finally falling. Energy field finally used right there, but the damage was just too much on Rift. So, wow, a lot used right there, but they eventually got the kill on Team Tania.
Yeah, very, very good for them. And I don't know, just like it's so crazy to me that Defiler drops so fast, honestly. Even with the Axe and the Malphite. And I will say, once you get that upgraded into the
Behemoth's Heart.
The Behemoth's Heart, it is so much better. It's just like night and day difference. But I still would have gone for, in hindsight's 2020. But I've been saying this whole time. I feel like it's been too late. Honestly, I feel like you still need to you need to group up very, very early on. Now you have some good items still on TFR coming out, like Barbed Armor onto Pharaoh. He's very, very farmed.
Whoa, here we go. A Roshan main channel that does Wrath of Pharaoh in the background. They're going to jump on a Tempest as well as right here, but the follow-up just isn't there. Magnus is going to have to fall back. Finally, Defiler comes in. The barbed armor was used. Torture will fall, actually. Now Zephyr, he is in some trouble. Again, the Defiler ultimate activated, chasing out, doing the physical damage. So the Shark Knight doesn't matter right here. Will it be enough? The Wave of Death connecting onto Empath, still chasing. Nice Essence Drain, though, and I believe Empath will be fine with the Essence Link. Excuse me, going to take the stun.
Look at the tower.
Oh, yeah, the tower actually is going to fall right there. Right in front of them. So, okay, it seemed like that was actually not the best of initiations there, but it actually did come together pretty nicely for TFR, and they do win the fight.
Riftwalker is doing some freaking work.
Yeah.
Like, this hero is dishing out a lot of damage, and I know it doesn't reflect that so much in the hero damage with only 9%, but still, like, I'm just watching him, and it's just so difficult to play against the spells that are down for him. And that ultimate, too, its superior magic damage is a huge range, huge AoE. And, yeah, I got to say that Rift is actually really working out here well for TFR.
Yeah, again, a pick that we've never seen on HoNcast, and obviously just very rare in general in the HoN competitive scene, but TFR making it work, and yeah, I am kind of intrigued now to watch her maybe next time in the next team fight to really see what she's putting up. But the point that I go back to, speaking of Riftwalkers, look at her farm. I mean, she's farming nearly 240 gold per minute. This is a secondary support. That's not bad at all. And again, it goes back to the synergy of her abilities and how well she can farm with them. So the fact that she has the tablet amongst her other build-up items, that's also helping her be effective.
And the blink on the Kebab, on the Engineer.
Really?
He's going to have level 11 here pretty soon, and maybe after these Ancients, too, and that's going to be huge.
Yeah, he's, of course, helping Pharaoh kill these off. Pharaoh does have a regen rune followed up, so plan to use it after, I'm sure. In fact, there you go. And there you go with the regen. So not level 11 just yet, but yeah, Portocan Engineer, another big news there. So it seems like TFR, you know, you could argue maybe waiting a lot longer than they should have. But especially after that last fight, they do show that this is still a game here, if anything, coming out. Now Zephyr, on the other hand, for Trademark Esports, he is level 16. And he actually just picked up a Warp Clef, so I don't know if he has the finish. No, it's just the Warp Clef, but Demonic Breastplate is going to be coming here for Zephyr. And that especially goes back to, again, the ultimate from Defiler being physical. That'll help big time. Behemoth's Heart is finished, though, speaking of Defiler. She is level 15 still, but got to be close to 16, I'm sure.
Yeah, and that's going to be a huge turning point for her. Damage is going to be so much stronger. I believe that the Ghosts, I don't know if they actually go fast. Yeah, they do go faster as you level it up, so
yeah,
500 movement speed.
Oh, yeah.
And then go from 5, 10, 16. So actually the jump is biggest from level 2 to 3. I didn't even think about that. It's only one more, but pretty big jump there for Defiler. Now has a Behemoth's Heart, 24, just 23,500 life for him. And doesn't really need, honestly, like, physical armor. Like he has 9 armor right now, but there's really no physical damage coming out from this Legion side.
A little bit of a Congo attempt, double damage on Pharaoh, but here we go. Defiler actually going to be jumping right there. Gus missing, but here comes Riftwalker. Looks like I'm sure Wormhole any second, but Defiler being locked down. Defiler will fall. Riftwalker towards the party. Energy field is down, of course, on top of that. Torture dropping quickly. Torture will maybe fall, barely seen alive. Magma's finally joining the party off to the background. Bubble's going to be stunned. Empath will fall. Riftwalker cleaning up here, it looks like, but now she's in a little bit of trouble. Will she get the support in time? Magma's and Engineer running. I believe she will get the support in time. Bubbles ports in, but here we go. Magnus, he has a stun, and he's going to stun right there. Oh, the portal key coming out from Bubbles. Gets the counter Riftwalker, takes an Engineer, and now Magnus in no man's land right here. He's going to quickly Steam Bath. He has a portal key up coming up right here. Tempest's going back in, though, and so is Bubbles. There's a Lava Surge forward, though, by Magnus, and I think that will be enough to get away. Oh, man. Riftwalker, if she just got the support a little bit earlier. But great play by Zai, though, especially too at the end there.
Shanos just must have been MIA although the whole fight. I don't know where he was, but ultimate wasn't used. The missed stun as the port coming out from Bubbles on the Shell Surf, and then right after that using the take cover to dodge. I forget what it was, but Zai making some big plays in that fight. Also, yeah, Insania's doing a lot of damage. Skyzo, right before he died, it was literally like as he was dying, the rocket came out and killed Torturer.
Yeah.
So very, very close for him. Still, Defiler dropping.
Yeah.
Like, dropping like it's hot in these team fights. And I really feel like you're going to have to up now that magic armor. You only have investment to upgrade that to a Shaman Tedris at the very least. In fact, you need a barrier. You really do.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're not going for the Shrunken Head, which he might even think about at this point now, even though he's very, very tanky, that would be in my taste. But, you know, you got to find some way to stay a little bit longer alive in these team fights.
Yeah, and I also keep going back to Skyzo, too, on this Pharaoh. I mean, he's level 15. He's farming 350 gold per minute. Again, we don't really see Pharaohs this much farm, especially all throughout the game, but He's been keeping that a bit very important. In fact, going to wrap the throw right here on a Zephyr. Zephyr all by himself. The team support's not here just yet. Going to use the struck ahead, but will it be enough to live? No, it will not. It doesn't look like it. Yes, finally going down right there. What was Zephyr doing all by himself? That is not only going to be killing to him, but also Conger will easily go down now. It's momentum swings like that really, really will pay off.
Yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. No Tempest ultimate. You can't really fight a fight without Zephyr. He has no buyout as well, as he's going for that Demonic Breastplate, it looks like. Defiler still isn't level 16 yet, which kind of sucks for him. Maybe he'll get it after this Conger, because it really is a big jump in that ultimate. It does a lot more damage, and it does travel faster. So Conger will fall right here. Actually, Insane in a little bit of trouble. Here's an Invis Torturer.
Man, they really want to kill Conger, but Riftwalker definitely dying over here, trying his best to survive, but oh my god, Conger is so low. Bubbles jumps in. Here we go. Rupture going to be channeled off to the side from Magnus. He jumps in as well in the energy field. Conger finally going to fall right there. It was not Ninja. Defiler gets taken alive. He hits level 16 as well. Bubbles will go down. Here comes Torture and Empath, but Defiler says bring it on. Pharaoh is going to go down right there as well, but Defiler again, she doesn't have her ultimate just yet for another 20 seconds. She will have the power supply charges. Magma stuns in. They get the kill on Empath, and now Tempest and Torture realizing the jig is up. Torturer Tempest is going to get caught out. It looks like no stun from Magnus, though. He just doesn't have enough mana. Defiler still chasing, waving up. Nice Wrath of the Pharaoh coming in from Skies, though. He buys back, obviously, and it will set up a kill on a Tempest. Zephyr finally coming back up, but it's just going to be too late. Torture should be out of range, and he will survive. Crazy M, but the most important thing, Defiler survived, has a token of life now.
Yeah, and good patience there by Skyzo, too, because a lot of, he could have just ulted in, used the mummy walls as well, but waited and actually walked forward of Tempest so that when he pushed himself, he still caught him with a Hellfire. So yeah, Defiler still now has that token of life. Levels are coming up onto the rest of the team. Hellflower actually up onto Magnus. I believe he had it for the last fight. I'm not 100% sure. But he has that. Now you got to wonder if Defiler's going to think to maybe make a barrier out of life. Still really feel like he needs to. He actually sold his vestments. No.
Well, to be fair, it was complete panic time.
Okay.
So
well,
maybe that was it. But
I still sell your TP or even your power supply.
Yeah.
But vestments are clearly needed in this game. So we'll have to see where he goes for his next couple items. But
yeah, he needs that. I think you sell your power supply right now and get vestments. Yeah. It's just the vestments. I mean, that's so much reduction against this Legion team for 400 gold. I don't know what Defiler's thinking. I mean, sure, you're pretty tanky with Behemoth's Heart, but why not reduce so much damage with minimal gold? Pharaoh's going to run into some pressure right here, actually. He's going to razz that Pharaoh, and then connects onto the Barb Timer's up. He has some support. Great kicks, and on top of that, in jumps our Portal Key Engineer. Engineer trying to go up. He couldn't get it off, though. He's still being stunned, and he will finally get it off, but too much return damage. It ends up being a 2-for-2 exchange, so actually I think TFR is pretty happy with that, as they got Torture and Empath for Magnus and Engineer, so... pretty big fight, but the fact that Defiler is still pushing the bottom lane while that was happening actually is pretty surprising, but has a token of life now for another 4.5 minutes plus here.
I believe he actually, I mean, his port's on cooldown. That tells me he must have ported bottom.
Yeah.
And I don't know where he ported bottom from, but if it was from base, that's a big no-no. It was?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a big no-no. You should never, ever do that.
Yeah.
Not having your port on cooldown just to go to that bottom tower. I mean, they do have that tier 3. But still, it's very important to keep that TP up, especially when you have outer towers. Like, actually, now that I come to think about it, they only have one tower down. They have the outer tower up top, the tier 1, and the one bottom as well. And when you have the ability to TP there, you need to have that open. So, yeah, he really needs to not use those TPs to TP to towers like that to farm.
I'm still just completely shocked. Ooh, wow.
All right.
Again, Insania's farming, man. I love this Riftwalker here. He's level 15. He's got 250 gold per minute, and he just picked up an Acolyte staff. So that could very easily be a Sheepstick or a Frostfield Plate, as we were talking about earlier. I wouldn't be surprised to see that on her, too. So
yeah.
But having the Acolyte staff, that's, of course, the most expensive of either one of those items. 2,700 gold straight up, so good for her. Defiler needs to be a little bit careful down here. She is kind of pushing up by herself. No vision, really. She might be cut off, but no, she is going to be fine. Again, she still has a token of life also for another 3.5 minutes. But pulling up 3,500 gold, I was going to say that I still can't, unless this is a straight-up barrier idol purchase, I just need those Mystic Vestments, man. Hey, what about a sacrificial, Icon of the Goddess? Do you think that's actually a legitimate item here on a
If you get it really, really early, right now it would just be a complete waste of gold.
Yeah.
Because you could get, like, at this rate, with it pulling up this much, you could get a Shrunken Head, you could be very close to a sheep stick. So to go backwards and say, yeah, Sackstone, or sorry, not Sackstone, but
used to be.
Yeah, it used to be. But the Icon Goddess is just like, nah, that's just not a smart way to spend your gold.
Yeah.
He bought something.
Acolyte staff.
He bought perhaps Shiva,
Frostfield, yeah.
Frostfield plate.
I'm guessing that. So he needs the 14 plus decision. It's 2,000 more.
And honestly, it's not a terrible decision because it's still going to make him tanky. Like, he's still taking auto attack damage. Primarily, he's taking the magic damage, and which is why I feel like even Shrunken Head could be good here. Like, I'm not gonna lie, but like you mentioned, I still feel like Barrier needs to be picked up on someone on this team. I really do. Demonic up onto Pharaoh. He's got a lot of farm himself.
Yeah, I just saw that. I think, it's one thing to have this hero like Defiler, but I really think Skies has been the MVP so far for TFR. He really has been having a huge. I mean, think back to the beginning of this game. The fact that he killed a Torturer 1 versus 1 at the bottom lane, it started it all off. And he's now 7-3-13. He just continues to farm very, very well. And as he just put it, the demonic breastplate on top of everything else. Now he's pretty damn tanky himself. And pretty big impact there. So all 5 are going to group up here at the bottom lane. Again, the token of life, how much time is left? Just over a minute and a half now. So this is a pretty good timing here coming out from the Fire Rises. Trademark Esports, they're going to try to counter push a little bit themselves here in the middle lane. Now you see the Gust Forward right there from Zephyr. And he's going to start beating away. So they'll probably get this tower kill. But TFR, they want to start breaking into the base. I feel that's more important. So Trademark Esports will need to respond. Again, the token of life just over a minute 20 now. So running out quickly, but
the only thing about this is that, honestly, a token of life on Defiler is not very good. Because if you die with the ultimate up, it just goes away.
True.
And if you die without the ultimate and they burst you down before it's able to be effective, then clearly the token of life didn't really do anything for you, did it? So they got to be really careful about this. Also, he already bought the Acolyte staff, and he's hoarding up another 1,800 gold. I would not push this, honestly. I would not push this at all. I would get a big item. You don't really need the token of life onto you because I could just see it. I could just see it coming of him dying without it being effective.
Well, I mean, that just goes back to just him still having the power supply. It's like if you spend 2,700 gold on an Acolyte staff, I mean, why not sell the power supply and get it?
He could sell his power supply right now and get the Frostfield plate if he wanted to.
Okay. Yeah, he does have the 2,000 gold.
And then it would free up the spot.
Well, Shell Surf, not going to port, but the token of life is going to be wearing out here after this next creep wave. So you got to wonder now for TFR. I mean, this is, if you're really committing, you're going here. If you're not, just, put a little bit more pressure on them, fall back. There goes the ultimate, so they're committing here. Wall coming out. Defiler taking the damage. Magma stuns it. Doesn't hit any heroes, though. And now Sham's going to be trying to great kill coming out from Bubbles right there. Defiler ultimate still going around, but Defiler will fall right here. Is it? Yes, it barely falls on top, but again, as you mentioned, no ultimate to use. She's going to try to run away. Will she be able to? Probably not. She looks like she's going to be picked off here. The support's just not going to happen. As Bubbles going the other direction, he wants to cut off others who are trying to run away as Leska Q does officially get taken out. But now Riftwalker's on the run, has TP in 2 seconds. Also has that wormhole, by the way. So we'll see if he maybe uses that as an escape here. Which, could be very possible. I'm surprised he actually didn't try right there.
Yeah, me too.
The tower is up, but right through that Pharaoh coming in. They're going to try to turn this baby. Using that Q right there with the cascade event. Bubbles being pulled in. Magnus stuns in as well. Or Porton, I should say. Bubbles will fall, actually. Tempest ultimate coming out right here. Riftwalker, she's going to initiate. Yeah, she jumps in right there. She'll fall shortly after. Magnus done on 3 heroes. Empath still alive. Here comes Engineer. Defiler can buy back, but still not buying back through all of this, actually. The Mummy Walls goes up. There's the buyback, though, finally coming out. Has the ultimate not up, though, for 30 more seconds. Puts the silence out. There's the wave of death. Tempest running away. Kexen just out of range. And a great wall from Empath. A very late buyback from Defiler coming out right there, honestly. And just indecision there.
Well, I mean, that was unfortunate. I don't think that was, honestly, a big deal. And to be honest, I feel like maybe he shouldn't have even bought out right there. But yeah. It was just, honestly, a terrible team decision to push there. Absolutely terrible. Not to mention, like I said, it's like I'm reading a book and I skipped the last chapter, and that's exactly what, I already knew what was going to happen.
It is.
It was just a terrible decision. And like I said, the Defiler with a token of life, it's not very strong. It's not like your silhouetted Dark Lady with a token of life. You die with that ultimate, you're useless. You really are. And, yeah, it just sucks.
Well, you did call it. To be fair, you definitely did call it, and it pretty much played out as you expected it would, with them deciding to push it at the last second. So you hope after that for TFR, they think about that and like, okay, that was a bad decision. Let's just move on here, I guess.
And not to mention, too, but like you mentioned at the very beginning, Shams blinked in it with the initiation, missed.
Yeah.
He missed everything.
That's true.
And you cannot have that happen, too. And when you're pushing like this behind Defiler, you should not be initiating. Unless you have, he does have a Hellfire, but unless you can down someone right away and the coordination's perfect. Like, even if he missed that, I would have expected the rest of the team to be right there with him. Like, that's what it should have happened. But they shouldn't have even been initiating. They should just be sitting behind Defiler, wait for them to be going on him, and then counter-initiate. But even then, with the Defiler having the ultimate up and the Token of Life, it's just kind of iffy.
Yeah.
Because it's like, yeah, I could die, but then I won't have my ultimate. Well, then why would you push with the token? Why wouldn't you wait and get your item? Like, you already spent your gold. You have another 2,000. Why not have an item instead of a token, since the token's not doing anything for you anyway? So, yeah.
Well, they are going to somewhat group up again, and it's almost as if the desperation is starting to kick in here for TFR, feeling that they need to group up down at the bottom lane and push in here. Now, Tempest Ultimate is down, so of course they are aware of that. Maybe that's the cue here, but Defiler still trying to finish off that you would expect to be a Frostfield plate. You do see Riftwalker, and actually, you know, we keep saying Frostfield plate, but it could actually be a Sheepstick. Wow, there. Oh, wow. We are going to have initiation, though. Sorry about that. On a Zephyr, actually, and Zephyr will be bursting down, it looks like. That's the start they were looking for. He cannot buy back either. Defiler still taking the damage, barely staying alive right now. Going to put the silence out. They jump in. Bubbles now. He's in trouble. Going to get the Astrolabe heal. Defiler will be picked off. And now Torture doing plenty, but Magnus stunts in with the eruption, and he's going to start tearing up people left and right. Bubbles fall, Torture barely alive. Riftwalker wants that kill. Wall coming out right there. Torture will fall, though, but at what cost? Riftwalker being locked down. Tempest holding in the background. It gets the kill on Pharaoh and Magnus, and now Riftwalker, she will also fall, it looks like. So the turnaround at the end from Trademark Esports, even with Zephyr getting picked off as early as he did, they do all that work.
They started out really well. Like when I talked about, if you're going to go initiate, you need to go all in, and that's what they did for Zephyr, but it's just honestly a little bit too little too late. Like, Torture has a lot of items now. And quite frankly, the Defiler's just simply not tanky enough. Like, yeah, he has a Behemoth's Heart, but he's still dropping so fast. And if I'm playing Defiler and I'm seeing this happen, I've seen this happen this entire game. Like, even though he had the items that he did at certain points in time, he was still dropping all the time. So I would just be getting myself more tanky. This Acolyte Staff is doing nothing. He could have purchased it into something else. And I just don't know. I feel like a team, when you pick Defiler, needs to be centered around Defiler.
Yeah.
And it's just not simply working out that way.
Yeah, I can't agree with you more. Really can. I mean, and now we have TDM. They are going to respond here, and well, they pushed 2 towers actually. As we talked about, the fact that there was only 1 tower kill up until about maybe 10 minutes ago at the most here for TDM, and now you look at it, all the outer towers have been destroyed. And they're going to start falling back and regrouping and, getting their bigger and better items. And the lead is getting pretty damn significant now. You're looking at nearly a 20,000 experience lead on top of the 12,000 gold lead. So, Trademark Esports, safe to say, they're in a very good spot here. Game number 3. This is it for the round of 16. Again, this is the very first round here in cycle number 5 for the Diamond Division. TFR giving TDM everything, a run for the money, but they're going to need some big plays here to secure a victory for themselves the way this game's been going. Now, Riftwalker is also very close to a Frostfield plate herself. In fact, there you go. She actually has a Frostfield plate now on Riftwalker. So, again, go back to just the farm that Insania's been able to get, man, on this hero. 250 gold per minute just constantly here. Yeah,
well, you mentioned, I don't know this hero maybe as well as you do, but you mentioned that she has spells that can make her farm fast.
Yeah. The Cascade event and the Riftburn. Q and the E there for Riftwalker. Pretty powerful. But I also wanted to bring this, we were so focused and stressed on Defiler getting that Frostfield play that it's just going to pass me that it's actually going to be a Sheepstick. I mean, with the way that he keeps pooling up gold, trying to finish off a Sheepstick here, as he has currently 2,300 gold saved up, so still needs more, but is getting close to a Sheepstick. Would be able to get the Frostfield plate if that's what he's going for, and obviously it's not, so
this is what I was talking about when you mentioned Sheepstick very early on. I'm like, well, when you get it, you're probably going to be getting it in the late game, and I just feel like that's not effective for Defiler in the very late stages of the game. I'd rather play her as an early to mid game hero.
Yeah.
Or at least if you're if you're not going to, I would just make her very, very tanky, because I've seen Defiler in the late game with full-out tank items.
Yeah.
And you can't kill her with that ultimate up, because if you try to man up, you're going to take way more damage.
Oh, Tempest setting up with an invis right here, giving them the vision. There we go. They're going to open on Zephyr, though. Tempest ultimate out to the side of Riftwalker and Pharaoh. Not the best damage follow-up, though. Defiler is being taken on as far as damage output on herself. She has the ultimate out, but Defiler will fall right there. Pharaoh jumps in. Ain't going to matter, though. He will too fall, and I think Trademark Esports is just going to be too much in the end here for the Fire Rises. Now, Defiler does have a buyback. We'll probably have to use it right here. This will be her last buyback. But all 5 are up for TDM. Sure, they use plenty of ultimate cooldowns there, but they are good to go. Pushing into the base. Defiler buys back right there, so it's only 3 of them, however, as Pharaoh or Riftwalker cannot. So that's set up beautifully for Trademark. And now Magma's going to look to stun him with the Eruption. Oh, but he got walled there at the last second to cancel the portal key. And now Shams is going to be turned on. Bubble Sports in with the Hellflower. Couple more auto attacks. Oh, nice take cover right there, avoiding the keg stun. Really wants to get this kill. Song of the Sea. Oh, man. Shams, yes, he will fall. They get the middle racks. They go to the top. And again, I think it's just going to be too much. TDM, it looks like, could be on their way to game number 3 victory here.
Yeah, and I mean, that's unfortunate. I believe they actually saw just the little bit of chance of channeling that ultimate. If they obviously did, because the wall came out. It wouldn't just randomly come out like that.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So good job by Fitsky. You got to give a lot of credit to Fitsky right there. And then again, Defiler, he's still sitting on just that Acolyte staff that he purchased, what, like, I want to say 8 minutes ago, and then had 2,000 gold on top of that, and has not been able to make an item with that.
Yeah.
I just feel like this is just a waste of gold. And speaking of him, he's actually in a lot of trouble. No buyouts just yet, and he drops. Drops so fast, Riftwalker ultimate used, but no follow-up will be had. He might be in a little bit of trouble. And GG well played actually coming out from Les QQ. Both you can see there comes Pharaoh trying to get something done. Kabak falls to Sai, and GG well played coming out.
Yep, Trademark Esports, they will say, again, as I said, after the first game victory for TFR was made it very clear. This is TDM after all. They are the #1 seed, and something told me at least we're going to go to a game 3. And not only that, but TDM does take the series in the end, 2-1. But at the same time, you know, for obvious reasons, we are giving a lot of credit here to TFR because they are deserving. So they end up losing in the series 2-1, but not only did they win the first game, but they had chances, man. They really did have chances to take game number 3. You know, some poor decisions, though, on maybe certain heroes ultimately led to the success of TDM, on the other hand. So, but I still think they played it very well.
I honestly think that TFR had every right to win that game. I feel like they were in the driver's seat many times. And again, it was just a couple of team decisions that honestly did not work out at all, namely pushing at the time they did with the Defiler having the token, but could have bought an item instead and just waited out for perhaps the next Congo. They were in no rush at that time, at that point in time. And they tried to force the issue, a failed initiation, unfortunately, by Magmus, and it just snowballed after that, and they couldn't get their momentum after that point. So congratulations to TDM. But still a well-played series by TFR.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a scare there for Trademark, but in the end, they do move on, and they won't have to be worried about knockdown to the losers bracket right after the first round. So now with that said, you put it, TFR still you know, a pat on the back to them, but they are going to fall to the losers bracket, so I'm not exactly sure who they're going to end up being matched up against in the losers bracket, but I'm sure it ain't going to be easy, and we'll see if they can remain now in the Diamond Division. So that's, of course, the big thing to note there. Before we wrap things up here as far as this first part of the casting today, of course, we will be coming back with a round of 8 match in about probably about a half an hour from now or so.
Sure.
When that comes up, I actually do have a couple of updates I wanted to go over.
Okay.
Real quickly.
What do we got here?
Got the brackets pulled up. We're dealing with, of course, Trademark Esports over the Fire Rises 2-1. Absolute Legends did take out We Are Spies 2-0. Q Squad over Doberon Damp 2-0. Pencils went 2-0 over TT Esports. Then he had Stay Green 2-0 over SmackDown. One Trick Pony 2-0 over Mist. Complexity 2-0 over DMSN. And then Lions going 3 games, but they do defeat Afraid 2-1. So
one that jumps out to me, Pencils 2-0 over TT Esports.
Yeah.
You know, we had some speculation over the new roster changes and the new roster shuffle, so to speak. And Pencils takes that out. And in good fashion. I mentioned one of the games I saw looked like just a huge stomp. So yeah, Pencils doing work.
Yeah, and then there's also the question marks to TT Esports, the new roster and everything. You know, are they they're 1 loss away from being knocked down to gold. So
that's true.
Got to be careful. Yeah, you lose the first round, you're 1 loss away from being knocked down. Got to be careful with that. Anyways, we are gonna take a break here. Do we plan to keep on the stream, or are we gonna we started, you know. Okay, so we are going to keep on the stream. We'll be a little bit longer of a break, as I said. We still have a good half an hour or so before the next series is set to come. But we'll decide on which one we're going to be covering, depending on how things shaped up, and we'll bring that to you. So it's going to be a lot of fun as always. So sit tight, stay tuned, grab a snack, grab some lunch, dinner, wherever you are. But tune in again about a half an hour from now with our next series. So see you then.